He's obviously he missed a little bit of time earlier, and then he was feeling good and played yesterday, and I would say things flared up a little bit for him, and as a result, he's gonna take some time here just to settle down a little bit and see how it responds from there. So he won't be available this weekend, and then we'll reassess him from there.
Was there a hit along the boards last night on your side, Sheldon? Do you know? Or
No, there's no specific hit
okay,
or specific play. It has nothing to do with the concussions or head injuries he was dealing with before. It's just something else
oh, okay.
he's been dealing with.
Starting to move tomorrow.
Shalgren will go tomorrow.
What do you like about having Willie on that third line with
A combination of things. Obviously, having a threat like Willie on the third line makes it a little bit more challenging for teams that generally rely on their top four to play against your best players, and then get minutes for their third pair. Against guys lower in your lineup makes it a little more challenging, and as a result, get some favorable matchups for Will. And then the other part of it is, we just when we split it up, Tavares and Nylander line wasn't going very well, and allowed us to change the dynamic there a little bit. And we've liked the results since. We've liked how the players have responded, but we just like how the team has responded, shift over shift.
Does it help that Mickey is playing so well?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's been a big part of it. I think that's brought a lot to John, and the energy and the pace that he plays with, and reliability of Kerfoot has really helped that line. At the same time, I think we've seen positive steps from Engvall as well since playing with Will, and I think that's really what you want is your best people to impact other players. So we've seen that, and like I said, we like the dynamic. We can switch back at any time, and obviously, if you, in each game, I think Will still had shifts with John. He's had shifts with Austin. We haven't just been static in that line and in that combination, and I suspect that will continue.
Trait for Willie, Sheldon, that he's able, the things just roll off his shoulders quite easily, or so it seems to us, or is that something that's indicative of all of these players that are more skilled than others?
I think it's fair to say for all players that have to deal with ups and downs and expectations and things like that. But in Will's case, especially, I think he has a real strong belief in himself and his abilities. And at times he needs a push, but his belief in himself doesn't waver. So that's what we like about him. And as I said, I think he's handled this well since we've changed the lines up a little bit. It's I think as we've looked at it, for the most part, his minutes haven't been really affected, and if they have, then it's on the nights that it has, it's probably one of the nights where a lot of guys' minutes have been affected by penalty kills or the score or whatever the case may be. But most nights his minutes have maintained the same level of where he's been, and that's really I think what the players want when their play is warrants it. They want to make sure that they're on the ice and getting in a rhythm and feeling good.
Special teams we know are so big in the playoffs, but for a guy like Nylander, how crucial is it for him to produce that 5-on-5 going into the playoffs and doing that with a little more consistency?
Yeah, that's where most of the game is played, of course. So that's the hardest thing to do. I think that's when you look at Austin. That's one of the standout things for what he does is his ability to produce at 5-on-5 when it's most difficult, and he does so on a level that really nobody in the league competes with. It's challenging to do that. You're going to get when you're not in the 1% the way Austin is. It's a lot harder to produce consistently at 5-on-5, but that is ultimately the goal, is to get multiple lines that are dangerous and have the ability to score and capitalize on the other team's mistakes, at the same time earn their own offense. So getting Willie producing is an important piece. But as we talked about last night, you also have the McKayas and the Engvalls, and the Kerfoots, Bunting, these kind of guys contributing is an important piece for us. It's not just on, Will, John, Austin, and Mitch.
What did you see from the special teams today? I know the power play's been a little cold. Austin did a bunky toss after the top unit scored on one of the drills today. Did you like the urgency you saw from the group?
Yeah, I liked it today for sure, and it's funny. We have been thinking about and talking about our power play here of late. We haven't liked it for the last little bit, but we went back and dug into it, and I spent some time with Spencer this morning, and how quickly we forget that before coming back here and playing. These last 3 games at home ice, we went on an 8-game stretch where we were at 42%. So we're not going to overreact with the tough little slide here. We just got to make sure we get back to it.
You guys played really well against the playoff team again last night, and now you're right back to, I think it's 3 in a row against non-playoff teams. How do you get them to carry that over?
We talk about it. We show it to them. We talk about the fact that it's our game and there's really only one way to play. I think that it's maybe a little overstated with the playoff versus non-playoff thing. I think we've played some really good hockey games against non-playoff teams here of late. Buffalo, of course, has been a handful for us, but Ottawa is a team that also plays very well against us, and they're playing good hockey now. I mean, see their win last night, and they've won big games. They've got a lot of young, exciting players, not unlike Buffalo in that sense. A long time since we've seen them, but they'll be ready to play. So that's the biggest thing for us, is just making sure that we're ready and enjoy, having nights like last night and competing like that. It is maybe at times a little more challenging this time of year to drum up that level of urgency and consistency, but we are still competing for home ice, or we are still competing to solidify ourselves in the standings. So all those things, my expectation is that our guys will be ready to play and ready to compete. It's a tough schedule for us here, coming up. This next little stretch and back-to-back games, and then heading, a quick turnaround there for Philadelphia. So, we'll just get the guys focused and talk about our game and those kind of things. But it's really going to come down to our willingness to compete.
Jack was asked about Tom Wilson last night, and in classic Jack fashion was like, he's a nice guy, met him at the All-Star game. I don't mind some contact. What did you like? We asked you about how the team responded to it, but what did you make of how Jack responded to that incident and his game in general?
Well, I like the Jack's, we talked about Will's ability to just let things roll off his back. I think that's the nice thing. We're Jack there just to refocus. And of course, I was concerned at the hit that that he would be injured on a play like that, and I was happy that he was not and was able to continue. Didn't look like a very nice guy in that moment.
Sheldon, were you even too young, or do you have any memories about what Mike Bossy did in the game for the Islanders?
Yeah, probably a little too young in terms of myself watching it and witnessing all of that, but not too young to grow up and knowing the legend of Mike Bossy and seeing the highlights and the exploits. His ability to score goals with such consistency right from the time he entered the league, and then the disappointment that all hockey fans had that his career was cut short and all those kind of things. And then as you're growing older and the stuff, you're seeing the grace and professionalism that he had off the ice. So it's a sad day for not just his family, of course, but hockey world.
I imagine it's a long road back, but we saw Kasha was on the ice today. What does that mean?
Positive step for him. So that's really good. Both he and Sandine. Sandine's been skating a lot more regularly and is making really good progress. But for Anjay today to be out there and touching the puck and doing what he loves to do, it's really good to see. And I chatted with him a bit in the lunchroom, and he's in good spirits, and seems like it was a good day for him.
Would you, I don't know if the word is hope, plan, expect to have both back-to-back players?
Well, I'm hopeful, that they'd be available. Yeah. There's no timeline on either at this point. They're just continuing to progress. In particular in Cash's case, of course, we're going to be cautious and do what's right for him. But like I said, today was a very positive day, and the more positive days he can have, then we'll start to look at it and think about it. And until then, we'll just make sure he's continuing to be supported.